the stare of the champion against the challenger. Stone Cold! Stone Cold! Stone Cold! Wait a minute!
5, 4. Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Wrestling Unleashed podcast, and today we have a special guest from Reno, Nevada, Big Paul. And welcome in, Big Paul. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to jump on the podcast with you guys and share some thoughts here.
I appreciate you for even stopping by, man. It's a lovely thing to have you. We're gonna get right into it. First and foremost, Paul, like what you got going on right now at the present time out there in Reno, man? What's going on?
Oh well, I mean, right now we just got done with we had a show called Luck of the Brawl last Saturday, so we just got that going, and it's a monthly product here in Reno. We've got the Reno Wrestle Factory that serves as our wrestling promotion, and we have our school also with the same name, Reno Wrestle Factory. So we had a new class start the beginning of January. So that one's going fairly smooth, and then we got another. Our next class is going to start April 1st here. So just super busy, man. Just trying to get some of these guys a little bit of experience in if they want to try to get into this wrestling business. Try to give them a little bit of a foot in the door, give them some training, kind of get them on the right path.
And so, how long you been doing that out there in Reno? Let the fans know, let the podcast know, like, how long you been loyal to this game, this indie wrestling industry, this helping out people with training? How long you been doing this?
So, I mean, I've been a pro wrestler since the early 2000s, and then we started our wrestling school 2010. So we've been cranking out guys since then. Probably the most notable of those is Eddie Thorpe in NXT right now. So we trained him. You think about all of the different people that have come through different wrestling schools. I was talking to one of another guy that runs a different promotion, and just like how many people have come out of different schools, and a lot of times it's not a huge number, right? So it's a combination of all of the factors of, people having a plan of wanting to get into the wrestling business, the dedication of training, coming to the amount of classes that you need to come to in order to, get to the point where you're comfortable with, your look, the way that you work in the rings, telling a good story. All of these things kind of pile up, and we had a conversation about that, just about how 100% of the people that you have to call and go, hey, where are you at? Are you coming to training today? 100% of those guys don't make it, right? And every once in a while, you get the Eddie Thorpe, right? And that guy came in with a plan already, right? He was going to go to Lance Storm School, but he couldn't get in there for multiple sessions. So I was like, you know what? I'll tell you what, man. I think if you start here, and this is just the confidence that we had as kind of a group of all the guys that were here in Reno. Like, we were confident enough, like, hey, we're going to get you rolling. And I feel like by the time you would have stepped foot into the Lance Storm School, you're probably going to have some opportunities, dark matches, extra work, things like that with WWE. As long as what you're telling us is exactly what you're going to be doing, right? Coming to training, taking care of your diet, taking care of your body in the gym, all of those things, and taking this guy on the road, and just trying to show by example, right? Those car rides, I feel like, are always the place that you learn the most, right? You get to a venue and you get to interact with some people. You wrestle a 8 to 10 minute match. All that stuff is fantastic, but those couple hours, up to, I think sometimes we'd be in the car 8 hours each direction. So all of those things, I think, are really where you learn the most about the wrestling business. So I feel like when I first started training, I was trained by Mustafa Saeed of ECW. So I think those were the times that we got to learn the most, was just in the car, riding with him. And a lot of the times it was things you had no idea what he was talking about, but you were just listening, right? You were listening because you wanted to learn, you wanted to get some of his experience. And then later on, all those things kind of click, right? You're like, oh, that's what he was talking about when he said this thing. So I think those are, I don't know. I think that's kind of what began my love of the teaching product as well. Is just how he mentored us, and then we took that and try to pay it forward.
Now, when you say that you're still training, are you personally training students yourself as well, or do you
I am.
have
So
others?
yeah, so I'm the main trainer here at our school. So we run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday right now. So and I think it's probably I'm giving too much, probably. Like, it's just, you have people that are that aren't filling the roles like you want them to, right? You
Right.
shouldn't have to call someone on the phone and go, "Hey, are you coming to training tonight?" Right? We have one guy that was a football player, and he's there every single session, right? And those are the guys that you want to have. You don't have to call them up and say, "Hey, are you going to be here?" You just expect the guy's going to be there, and he's there. He wants to learn. He wants to get better. So, that for me, that is, I'm 49 now. So, my time, I feel like, has passed. Like, I gave it my best shot as far as trying to get opportunities. I took myself to a bunch of different camps, went to a bunch of different promotions, earned an opportunity through the Harley race camp to go to Japan. That kind of fell through. I was supposed to go with Ricky Steamboat Jr. So we were supposed to go out of the same camp, and it just never came about. Dark matches, all types of stuff with WWE, but none of that stuff, came to fruition. Opportunities with TNA at the time, nothing came about with that. But it was, for me, it was opportunities to learn and bring that information back to kind of like the Northern California and Northern Nevada scene, and kind of pass that information on to everybody else. Tell them what WWE is looking for at the time, what TNA is looking for at the time. Just try to share that knowledge and get everyone the opportunity that I feel like I was given by the guys that trained me.
Awesome. And that's respectful. That's very commendable. Being presentable like that in the community. And I'm originally lived in Reno, Nevada, so I know a lot of what you do, and it's been an experience seeing a lot of the growth and a lot of the people that you have brought in and out. You said that you had some opportunity, and it kind of fell through. What happened there with the New Japan? Can you explain briefly on that?
Oh, so it was Noah. So Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yep.
It was, I think it was just like Harley Race called me on the phone and say, "Hey, they want you to come over on this date or whatever." And it was late September, and my wife was pregnant, and my daughter was going to be was due early October. So for me, it's a family first mentality, man. Like, I'm not going to miss the birth of my daughter, even though this potentially could be an amazing opportunity. And the way that it worked out, I would have been back in time. She was born at the beginning of October. I would have been back in time, but it was just a chance I wasn't willing to take.
Right.
So, it's, and I try to pass these experiences on to other people, man. Like, you have to decide, like, what are you willing to sacrifice? And for me, that wasn't a sacrifice that I was willing to make. And, and I'm sure people look down at me because of that. Like, if you really wanted to be a pro wrestler and you really wanted to make a living at this, that's a sacrifice that you would have made. But in my mind, there was no question, right?
Yeah.
It was going to be at a certain time. It wasn't something that I was willing to do.
Yeah, I don't think either of us would have done any different, man.
Right.
Yeah, that makes, I don't think, man, I don't think I would have taking an opportunity to miss my child's birth for money. You know
We
what I
got
mean?
Diego Dive Bomb Hill in the house. What's up, bro?
What's
Diego
going on?
Hill, what's going on? How you doing?
Late. I hope I ain't too late. My apologies about
Nah,
that.
you good.
No worries, no worries. Diego Hill, this is Big Paul. Big
How you
Paul,
doing,
Diego
Big
Hill.
Paul?
He's a fantastic trainer out in Reno, Nevada, where I live. He has a training school. He has a wrestling promotion. Maybe you can get out there, Diego, man, and show him your talents and skills at one of his promotions one day, man. You never know. You probably go out there and show something up.
Oh, hell yeah.
He was just in Mexico. He was just down in Mexico, Paul, and he's huge out here in North Carolina. He's huge. He's huge, man. And
He popped up here in Maine a week ago.
Yeah, he's moving around.
Yeah.
He's moving around.
I'm
Moving
all over
around.
the place.
But yeah, Paul, you said you had you 34th or 35th episode of Going Over podcast you have going on?
Yeah. So me and another trainer in this area, he runs Pro Championship Wrestling. It's kind of in the Oroville, Yuba City area in California. So he runs that promotion. They've been running since 1999, and he's the head trainer there. So we have always been talking about just wrestling, right? What we like, what we don't like, what's going on in pro wrestling matches. A lot of times it revolves around storytelling, right? So we're very old school, right? It's it's more of you have the baby face is out wrestling the heel, then you have the heel gets frustrated and cuts off the baby face. You start the heat right there. You go into some hope spots, false finish, whatever you want to call it, and then you go into the finish of the match, right? So so many people, I think nowadays I feel like it's so like 50-50, like you never know who's the babyface, who's the heel. You don't know who you want to cheer for, who are you going to boo, things like that. And I feel like there's so the lack of crowd work and things like that, right? It's a choreographed spot fest, and it's just not the way that I like to watch wrestling, right? I like to watch and get caught up in the story of what's going on, right? So, and we talk about like John Cena right now, what's going on with that whole situation, and how it's very much the I'm not going to give you me versus Cody on television where everyone can see it, right? It has to be a bigger deal. It has to be on a premium live event. It has to be at WrestleMania, right? I'm not going to give this away. And I think that that's something that you think about from a promoter's perspective. I always think about what matches can I build to a show that's going to be in a larger venue than the venue that I run on a regular basis, right? So, the place that we hold our place right now is maybe can hold 500, right? So we don't want to give it away for a small crowd like that versus if we could go somewhere and we're going to sell 1,500 tickets, right? We want to save those big things. We want to build in the smaller arena up into what we can do at the bigger arena. So that's kind of the mindset that we have, and it's definitely the way that we watch wrestling. So,
Diego, go ahead.
For a question, what are your main goals? And like you say, you're a promoter. Is your main goal to like at least be like the best known and like in the West Coast and prove that like you're like one of the best companies in the West Coast?
I mean that's the goal, right? I mean we kind of restarted again this last year. So we had been under the banner of All Pro Wrestling, right? That's from Beyond the Mat. It's a Northern California company. They had their owner passed away, and someone else was kind of running the show a little bit. As of COVID, they kind of fell off a little bit. So we were running under that banner, and then we just kind of went back to our roots where we started back in 2010.
Okay.
So what I feel like is what we're trying to create is we're trying to create a situation where people want to be here, right? There's going to be production value. You're going to get to work against guys you're going to learn from. I always feel like we're putting together the best possible shows of the guys that we can get in this general vicinity.
Okay, I've also got one more question.
Yeah.
So, knowing how the West Coast wrestling is, and knowing like there really isn't like budget problems and all that, would there be a point to where I don't know how to word this, but I don't want to actually word it like how it's worded. Like, would it be to a point to where if you would have that opportunity to like work or like collab with like big West Coast promotions like West Coast Pro or Prestige or Paragram or them?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to collab with all those different promotions. Right now, the guy that I kind of me and him are kind of on the same page and try to stagger our dates is the guy Zach Reed from Pro Championship Wrestling. So I feel like of all the promotions kind of on the West Coast, he's been around for the longest. Kind of has the production value. So. So I don't know anything about your background, right? So, but you go to this promotion and a lot of time, I mean, I don't know what type of call times you're used to, but so it's a 7 o'clock show, normally 2 o'clock, maybe noon call time. And it seems like it's super early, but it is the reasoning behind that is you're going to go there. Each time you go and work for this promotion, you're going to get new promo photos. You're going to get new stock footage. You're going to cut new promos, right? All the production value is going to be there. They have a weekly YouTube show. So the whole goal is to really focus on the production stuff, right? So I want someone to leave our promotion with a package that they can take and they can market themselves to every other promotion that they want to go work for. So I always thought like, when I was trying to get in, it was always, you needed to have a 1 minute promo. You needed to have a 5-ish minute match. You needed to have your 8x10, right? That was a production package that you sent on to WWE or you sent on to TNA or Japanese promotions, right? That's what they wanted to see. They wanted to see, can you cut a promo? Can you work a 5-minute match? And what do you look like, right? Your
Right.
whatever it is, waist up, full body, whatever the promo style photos that you want to have that you are going to market yourself with. That's what we want to provide. So, and I think something special is you're not going to have the same promo photos on every single flyer that you're on, right? You're going to have a couple different. You're going to have a couple different things. So it's not like, oh, there's that same promo photo on 15 different match flyers. You're going to have a match graphic for each show. And it's going to be a different promo. So I think that's special and that has a lot of value. And so that's kind of what we're trying to bring to the table. And I know like West Coast Pro, I mean, I feel like they have a lot of people that they're bringing in. I don't know. I wouldn't say money's not an object, but it's definitely, they're bringing in names and definitely guys I think that are hot on the indies. So, it's always a cool opportunity to collab with promotions like that. We're not in a situation like that where money is easy to come by as that. Like we're trying to work up to that.
Okay. So like saying if your company has like established where it needed to be, and if y'all had like that TV deal opportunity of like any channel TV that y'all would like have the opportunity to do, I consider like most big companies would shut it down, most would take it. Would you be one of those promoters that would take the TV deal?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about that, man. I think kind of as we started this podcast, my feel about pro wrestling is, I'm already 49, right? My time is gone, but I want to do whatever I can to try to help the next guys get an opportunity to live the dream, right? I think all of us, the dream was, I'm going to make a living at this. So, if I had opportunities like that, high production, things like that I wouldn't have to worry about that. Those TV deals, I mean, that's what we're all striving for. I think, like you want to put together the product that you can watch, that looks professional, right? Like,
Right.
right now we run at a high school gymnasium, right? So there's basketball hoops in the background and things like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like, if we have that opportunity to, like, it would be perfect right now. Like, it's Nevada, Reno, Nevada. So casinos going and working in one of those big event spaces would be a great opportunity. But I feel like the stigma of pro wrestling is still kind of associated with the backyard feel, where they think, oh, it's going to be dangerous and bloody and all this stuff. So trying to get over that when you're trying to market to some of these bigger venues sometimes presents itself as a little bit difficult.
Okay.
Now,
So I got one more question. I'm sorry to
go
cut
ahead.
y'all.
No, go ahead. Yeah, you good.
All right. So from a upcoming promoter to a senior promoter, and I've known you've probably done this for like over 5 years now, or so on. What throughout of the whole career of like being a promoter, what is the most, I would say, hardest part about being a promoter?
Well, I mean, I think the hardest part is, I feel like you put together what you feel like is going to be a good show, right? A good product, and then just having the no shows, right? Especially if it's more last minute, where you're trying to, like, you have a story arc that you're trying to accomplish, and somebody, main player, falls out of that, right? So I feel like pretty much you could buy a wrestling ring, you could rent a building, you can get insurance, you can put on a show. I don't think that's a big deal, but I think the whole goal of trying to put together a good promotion and telling good stories and having fans come back because it's a good product. I think that's always been the most difficult part, right? So if you could get yourself in a situation where you had 12 or 15 guys that were all pretty loyal, and you knew you could run storylines around that, that would be fantastic. But I also know that that's pretty unrealistic, right? Because you're going to have those guys that are loyal to you, but then you always want them to take those bigger opportunities. So I
Right.
never want someone to turn down a big opportunity because they're loyal, right? I have way better relationships with people than to expect that, right? I always want people to take those bigger opportunities. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, right? You're trying to create an opportunity for people to work at your promotion and tell a good story and get people to come back and watch it. But you also have to struggle with I want those guys to go out and strive for the best for themselves as well, right? Because that's really
Right.
what we're trying to accomplish. Is I want people to get opportunities based off of what they've done for me, and they can go out there and hopefully say good things about our promotion, and then people maybe younger coming up, or maybe someone who's like looking for a change, they come our way and experience what we've got to offer as well.
Okay. This is my last one. I promise y'all. I promise. It's like I got so many questions because it's like me and my tag team partner working on this show right now, and we like just legit started. And they're like, you gave me so many great, bright ideas, and I appreciate you for that, Big Paul. I think I just had the question right on top of my. Oh yeah, here it is. All right, so you have this show, and of course you're the promoter. Do you feel like that you use like all your superstars to represent that company, or do you use just one Pacific star to like represent it? Especially if it's like to something to where if it's like an upcoming show, you want him to do that promo to represent that brand, that show, to let him know, and like he could be that guy for to represent the company. You ever thought of anything like that?
I mean, I think that you want to have your kind of branded stars, right? That people look at and they put it together. Like this guy is a part of the Reno Wrestle Factory. So I definitely like that aspect, but I'd really like to create a lot of people that could do that as well, right? Because maybe you're not, we were talking about building to bigger shows. And so I wouldn't want to have, let's say, three different storylines that that could sell out a show on their own, all on one show, right? So I wouldn't want to pack one show with a bunch of things that I could main event a different show with. Like I'd like to have those three story arcs be the main story on three different shows. So I guess to answer that question, you'd like to have whoever is kind of your main guy in the upcoming story or whatever, have that guy be the promo guy for that show, and then maybe that can change, right? But you could have the John Cena guy who's the face of your company, right? So you could definitely have that as well. But I always feel like with the independent thing, if you have somebody that you could put, they could carry your company on their back, they're probably not going to be at your company for that long, right? They're probably going to get some bigger opportunities. Maybe they get like the WWE ID brand. Maybe they get that type of push, or maybe they get signed somewhere else that can put them in a position where they can make a living off of pro wrestling. So hopefully that answered your question. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, it did.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew it, Diego, but those guys that you and Bojack wrestled, their WWE ID.
Yeah, WWE ID
they're in
guys.
Evolve now.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, Paul. You said that you wouldn't put, three of your headliners on the same show. Do you have a show of all shows that you put together every year or something like that has your all of your stars on one show for one night to give the crowd maybe a dream show?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I mean, over the last several years, we've had our biggest show be it's actually a charity show called Headlock on Hunger. So and kind of all about this, but it's based off of your grandma, right? The way that she gave back to the community. Our thing was for the food bank in Northern Nevada. So it was a show that all ticket sales, concessions, all of that stuff was given straight to the food bank in Northern Nevada. It just happened to be because it was the cheapest. It was a $5 ticket. It would generally, you'd have those bigger crowds. It was at one of the bigger high schools. So, the stands would hold more people. It was less expensive. It was a charity show that people want to give to. A lot of opportunity, like a lot of products were donated for auction and things like that. So I'm sure it was a combination of people wanting to come and watch the culmination of what was going on in the wrestling product, but it was also probably a lot of people that are just trying to do good and want to get back to the food bank in Northern Nevada, want to have an opportunity to win something, through auctioned items, and wanted to come to a show that wasn't very expensive and bring your whole family for $20-$25 or something like that. So we always tried to make that show the one that we would build up to, because we knew it was going to be the largest venue as well. So hopefully that answers that.
That answers it. Yeah, exactly what I want to know, because we have WrestleMania right around the corner, and
Of course,
I want to know, we have two indie promoters with you and Diego, and we had cousin Larry on last week, another indie promoter out in Maine, and I was just thinking, like, you guys must have like some type of big event that's similar to the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania, and to have that giveaway, have that type of fundraising show. Yeah, it's going to bring in a lot of people. It's going to bring in a lot of people because of what you just said, and I guarantee they appreciate that. What part of the year do you do that in?
That's normally May. So This year it'll be May 17th. So that's you try to build up to that, and you try to go big on that show. And we've had in the past we had Chavo Guerrero one year. So you just sometimes you try to put names on there, guys that are kind of willing to give back. A lot of times it's you're booking a card full of guys that aren't getting paid, but they see the bigger picture and know it's gonna all even out when it comes to getting paid. You're gonna take care of them on another show because you couldn't take care of them on this show because you're trying to give all the money back to the charity.
That makes sense, and that's commendable. It really is.
Question. Mine's is more like a critique question. So I remember you said something about stories, about like not having too many of them and not having them all matched up. If you were ever in a position like that, how would you fix that for saying? Wow.
Like so. Oh, like if you felt like all the stories were coming together at once, or?
Yes, sir.
I would. You would have to try to make something mean a little bit more on the show, right? So, I don't know what type of stuff that you're doing within your promotion, but I always like to have some sort of main story arc going with whatever your main belt is, and then if you could get something going with some sort of secondary belt, and obviously you can switch those positions, right? Because it could be your secondary belt, the Intercontinental title, for instance, right? A lot of times that was the most entertaining match, right? So we use WrestleMania 3 as an example, right? You have Savage Steamboat, the best match on the card, and I don't think anybody would argue with that, unless you're talking to an old school guy that says the best match on the card was Hogan Andre because that's what drew the house, right? So. Yeah. Depending on what your mindset is, your mindset might be we're going to try to establish some sort of story that is going to be entertainment wise, why people might want to go, hey, man, you talk about moments a lot of times, right? Matches are creating moments that people leave that and go, man, do you remember when this spot happened? Or do you remember what the finish of that match was? Where they remember something, or is it something where it's a huge story that's kind of culminating in the show where now that's going to draw all the money, get people in the building, so now you can showcase that match that's going to be super memorable as well. So I think trying to put a little bit more emphasis on whichever avenue you're going towards. If you're looking for something that's going to draw the house and interesting, or if you're looking for people that are, are top-notch workers and are going to put on a really good performance where people are remembering that type of stuff.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Anybody else got some questions for Big Paul?
Alt has his hand raised over here.
Oh man.
Podcast.
He doesn't even got his microphone on.
Right, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, man.
We've been asking rapid questions.
Looks like he's frozen.
I know, man.
Frozen in the.
All right. Well, while we're waiting on him, where would someone contact you, Paul, if they were a talent of any sort, wrestler, referee, photographer, anything like that? Where would they contact you at if they wanted to work with you?
So there's a Reno Wrestle Factory Facebook page. I think it's probably the place that people contact us the most. My real name, people that they're in the NorCal scene know me, Steve Piankowski. So a lot of people will just hit me up directly like that. But I mean, I oversee all the different social media stuff. So whether it's on the Reno Wrestle Factory Facebook page or just direct messaging me, that's how a lot of people kind of get onto our shows. So and I don't know, Diego, I don't know how you how you handle when people reach out and go. I look at it as someone soliciting a booking from me, right? Hey, I want to come out there. I want to be on your card. I want to be a part of your program and a part of your product. A lot of the time, I'm just like, yeah, man, you get yourself here. I'll find a spot for you. I'm going to try to network with other promotions around here to get a Friday, Saturday, Sunday out of it for you, things like that. But a lot of the times when people are soliciting me, I don't generally offer them to get paid, right? Because I always look at it from the promoter aspect and where I go, how much money am I going to make off of booking this person, right? And I think about that with booking big names as well. Am I gonna get a return on my investment if I spend $1,000 to bring someone in? Am I going to get that back in ticket sales? That's, I don't know. That's kind of, I don't know if it's just, I don't think it's unique to just me, but I've had people that come out here and, they do an awesome job where it's like, all right, I want to bring you back out because, you did a great job and you're memorable and I can put things up on social media that will get people excited that you're coming back. And then we also had somebody that came from the East Coast that used to live here and was just coming back to visit. And the guy, he didn't want to get paid, but he drew so many fans to our show that I felt bad if I wasn't to pay him. So even though the agreement was I wasn't paying him, it was just, I felt like it was the right thing to do since he drew quite a few fans. I mean, it's, several $100s.
That's good. That's good for business. That's good for business. And that's why we love the indie side of wrestling. You know what I mean? Because business is always good, especially when business and talent is working together as it is. So, Altman, I thought you had your hand up before you got kicked out. You had a question?
Oh, no. No, I didn't have my hand up. I was just trying to fix my my phone because it started lagging.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we are still live here right now for anybody that's just now coming on in. We got a few people coming on in just now. Appreciate everybody watching. We got Big Paul, out there for pro wrestling out there in Reno, Nevada. If you guys want any type of connection, just reach out to him. It's always good to reach out, ask some questions. Maybe you want to become a pro wrestler. You know what I mean? Get suplexed on some tacks or something. I don't know. Whatever you feel like you want to do.
That's the way to draw, man.
I mean, hey, sometimes you gotta put your body on the line. Not like John Moxley, but it's okay.
So
No,
Paul,
sir.
do you keep up with how much of the product do you watch right now?
You know what? It's. I would say it's almost embarrassing how little I watch. It is, because I think it's just probably time constraints. It's training people 4 days a week. I think I have, like I said before, I think I have more of an old school mentality where I get frustrated watching a lot of the current product that isn't telling the story. And then obviously when you start seeing the John Cena, Cody Rhodes thing going on, then that sucks me back in, right? Where it's like, okay, this is what I like. I like the you're leaving people wanting more, and I think that's the biggest thing. Like people give me a hard time because I try to keep my shows at 2 hours or less. That's like we got to be done in 2 hours, right? People give me a hard time about that. It's like, oh, well, you're not giving the fans everything that they want, and my outlook on that is, I'm hoping that we're leaving the fans wanting more and wondering what's going to happen next, and the cliffhanger type feel. It's I think about wrestling when I was a young kid and thinking about a match going off air unfinished, and it's like, see you next week, fans, to see what the conclusion of this match was. So I always think about those type of things where if you could leave the fans going, God dang it, I wonder what happens next. We had 2 shows ago, we had a guy get knocked out in the main event, and we cleared the whole building, and the guy was still laying in the ring, knocked out. right? We're just like, hey guys, you got to get out of here. We got to get medical attention. So I just had people, hitting me up after that, asking if the guy was okay, what happened. And then we just continue that into this next show that we just had this past Saturday with him coming out and, say, hey, I'm still, I haven't passed concussion protocols yet. But when I do come back, it's going to be a whole new me, right? I'm going to come back in better shape, more prepared, all of these things. So, I don't know. Like, I just think about trying to put those story arcs together where people are coming in the door wondering what's going to happen with that story that we were watching last time. What's the next step?
Right. I think a lot of I know for a fact a lot of times there's more so than it used to be because of the internet nowadays. There's a bit of a tribalism that's kind of overwhelmed the wrestling community, where everyone feels they have to pit talent against talent and promotion against promotion and this person against that person. They do it in everything, music, whatever it may be. And I just feel like people don't recognize how much the other promotions give to the major promotions and how much vice versa. Like, they wouldn't be where they're at if it wasn't for the other one. Like, AEW wouldn't be that good if it weren't for WWE, and WWE wouldn't have that spark it has again if it weren't for AEW being competition.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's nothing like that competition, right? When it was the monopoly for so many years, you could just see the WWE was starting to just kind of get complacent, right?
Yeah.
There's nowhere else for someone to earn a living doing this, right? And then obviously we have the big boom with the indies, and you got guys asking to get out of their contract, and then they're going to go into the indies, and they're going to a lot of times make more money on the indies than they were, working for WWE. So, I think that was a big refresher, right?
Yeah.
For when you see like the Matt Cardonas and the Cody Rhodes and, all these guys taking it out there, right? And I know like a little bit more old school, Colt Cabana, I remember was that guy for me that was like, God, man, this guy's out there and he's making a living off of independent wrestling. And I was just like blown away by that. Like how this could possibly happen.
Don't do that, Steve. Don't mention that name on. Yeah, you might have CM Punk come on here and say something to us. Don't do that. Some of the
best independent matches though I've watched was with those two.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah, I think it's a very because I'm an AEW fan. I'm a fan of all wrestling. I watch everything, even down to soft ground wrestling in Uganda. I watch everything. I think it's like a Pepsi versus Coke type scenario, McDonald's versus Burger King type thing going on. And
McDonald's Burger King. Hold on.
Wait a minute, hold on. It's almost, I feel what you're trying to say. It's almost like your preference. You know what I mean? You have to have an acquired taste.
One is
for either one.
One is for certain bigger than the other.
Facts.
But the other one's definitely still relevant and still out there in the landscape.
Facts.
And
without that other one, which is AEW, then WWE would be shit right now. I'm just being honest, because I wasn't like, I watched, but I still fall asleep sometimes. But it's because I like Steve said. No, I'm serious. Like I'm just being serious, because I am cultivated. I'm captured by the moment. Like I want to be in the moment. Like I like a spot. Oh yeah, that's dope. He got his brains power driving on a steel stairs, or he got speared through a barricade. But what made this happen? Why did we get here?
Right.
What added up to this? Like I like to have the feeling of, oh my God, that was dope. I like how they played that out, and they killed it with a nice clean spot. That was well put together. I don't mind, like I said, I don't mind the spots. I don't mind it. Believe me, I don't. but I'm a storyteller. You know, I like to write music. I like to write poems and stuff like that. I like the story. I can actually write skits and plays. This is what I graduated college for. So when I see a good story in AEW, like the Tony Storm one, I'm all for it. I've watched that. I'm always watching that.
She's the most entertaining woman in wrestling right now. Like, I don't think there's a more entertaining woman than Tony Storm in wrestling right now.
But then you got over here, like Steve was saying, then you have the road to WrestleMania with John Cena and Cody Rhodes. It's got you now thinking, like, what's next? What is John Cena going to say next? He didn't give us what we thought he was going to give us. We all thought he was coming out with a new theme song, a new brand, everything. Man came out with the same theme.
If we were all guessing the booking, do we think that there's going to be corporate shenanigans that's going to make Cody lose his belt to Cena, and then Cody's going to win it in a rematch following WrestleMania?
What you think, Paul? What you think?
Well, I think like the culmination of this, like if he truly is if this is retirement time for him, there's no better way to go out than beating Ric Flair's record, right, of title reigns. So, you know, if you're trying to go out as a heel champion right there, I don't think anyone, you know, you can't think of anything that people are going to hate more than that happening, right? And then him having the ability to say, you know, Ric Flair's not the greatest heavyweight champion ever. I am, right? I've got more title reigns than he did. So I think, you know, as far as pissing off the fans, and I feel like
that'll do it for sure.
That's a dirty move.
Right,
breaking
exactly.
the record. Ric Flair's like the last link to the past. He was in the territory. Also, he wrestled around the world. In my opinion, and I know John Cena's done a ridiculous amount for Make-A-Wish, for WWE, for wrestling, period. But I don't think he has done enough to outright Ric Flair's legacy.
But hold on. If he does something dirty like what Steve was just saying, he would then be notified as the dirtiest player in the game.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
If he does some dirty shit like that, he is going to now be the dirtiest player in the game. He is taking the moniker from himself. So. Right. So now Ric Flair ain't got it no more.
And
so he's right.
And I honestly think, like, okay, there's been all kinds of mentionings of, and I've seen this mentioned on several podcasts and programs now. There's been all kinds of mentions of him breaking the record. Why did Monday he reference Ric Flair's name?
Yep.
He said his name. There's going to be something. Ric Flair's either going to pop up at wrestling. Maybe Ric Flair pops up and says, "Bitch, you ain't breaking nothing."
No, he got to hit him with the dirtiest. He got to hit him with the dirtiest.
With Mike Tyson, bro. They both going to be lit.
No, he got to hit him in the nuts. He's got to do the dirtiest player in the game. He's got to poke him in the eye or something and then hit him in the nuts. That's, you know what I mean?
I think that would be good booking, bro. If Flair comes and makes sure that he doesn't break the record, that would be good booking. I think that'd be crazy.
That would be crazy. That would be the dirtiest player in the game. That would be why he's the dirtiest player in the game. See, either way, Steve, what you're saying, and you know, Katana, what you're saying, either way, the moniker right now is who is going to be the dirtiest player in the game.
And what do y'all think about? I kind of feel like the segment with the Usos and Gunther kind of made Jay look like a bitch.
It really did.
Right, like Jay's sitting here getting emotional every promo.
No,
I mean, I like the emotion. Like I said, I'm a storyteller. I like the emotion.
He's whining. He's supposed to be main event Uso. You going up against the world heavyweight champion, and your brother's the one over here open hands smacking him across the face when you've had every opportunity to do that.
I'm my brother's keeper. If that's happened to my brother, I'm my brother's keeper. I'm gonna go slap the dog hell out of you too for my brother. No matter if he is gonna be at you know, I'm finna slap you too because you disrespected my brother. He's my family. I'm my brother's keeper at all times.
I think that no matter what, harder than all the super kicks Gunther's got hit with in this feud. So
he got slapped back. Gunther got slapped back to Walter. He got slapped back so hard his name turned to Walter that night.
Boy,
I wish Chris
Hey,
was
look.
on this podcast because Chris mentioned that he doesn't like Gunther, and
What
I don't know if
do you
y'all
think,
watch.
Paul? You like Gunther?
I mean, it's kind of funny because so many people think like, oh, like he's so old school and things like that. But it's very much my style of wrestling. Like it's just that the hard nose, kick the shit out of somebody,
He
type
fits
of
that
wrestling.
archetype.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
I'm definitely a big fan. It's not nothing's too flashy. And I think like as a heel, I think a lot of times that's kind of what makes people dislike them, right? Like, oh well,
Right,
they're not
right.
very flashy. They don't do cool stuff. It's just very grind it out, beat you up. Get a victory like that. So I definitely am a big fan.
And I don't know if y'all tuned into LFG this last episode of LFG, but he was on there, and dude's a savage, bro. He was telling people straight up how it was. He's like, if you ain't here to be the best, you don't need to be here at all. He's like, he was talking to the chick Xena. He was like, if he's like, you need to tone down all that giggly Barbie doll act. He's like, nobody likes that. Nobody wants to come see that. Like he was just being. He's like, he's a heel in real life, bro. But he's also like a workhorse. Like Undertaker said, that's his dude. He's like, there. He was saying that there's not many people you can think of that work harder than Gunther, or live wrestling as much as Gunther does.
Right. It's you think about the guys that you perceive that are in their gimmick, 24/7, right?
Yeah,
MJF comes to mind, Taker comes to mind.
yeah,
You think about these guys that you would see outside of the arena, and who would be that same type of character outside of the I don't know, just outside of the wrestling character, who would stay in gimmick, the most. So
yeah,
if you think of a guy that really blurs the lines, and you hear him talking about real stuff, and you
yeah,
think he's a dickhead, but he's just being honest, right?
yeah.
It's like I'm not pulling any punches.
Right.
You get a bad rap sometimes when you tell people. I feel like that with people that send me matches and say, "Hey, can you critique this?" And I was like, you know what, I can, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to be honest, and if you don't want to hear it, then don't have me critique your match. So I feel like you have kind of getting back all the way back to what we talked to at the beginning about the reason that I want to train people, and I love when people come to me and say, "Hey, can you watch this match and give me some feedback?" And the next time I see them wrestle, they've changed something that I talked about, right?
Right.
You're
Bro,
not going to change everything and make it perfect, but that's my favorite thing to see is when somebody does something, right? You give them some sort of critique and they pick something out of there and they go, "I'm going to fix that thing." I think about how many people did that for me, throughout the years, even being 10 years in, and people still going, "Hey, you know what I think would work better is if you did this," and I'm like, "Yep, I'm going to try it and see if it works." And most of the time it does. Somebody sees something that your tunnel vision isn't allowing you to see. So I definitely
It's good to be malleable like that, to be open to opinions, not have an ego and be too weighted down or set on what you think is right or the only way.
I got something to say, Steve.
What's up?
Having this whole conversation for this whole almost hour now, I've noticed I was kind of trying to put two and two together about you and who you kind of resemble, like, interviewing you, like talking to you. You have the same mannerisms and the same like approach to things as Kevin Owens.
Okay.
Like the way that you
I'll,
explain
I'll,
things is like
Hey
so
man,
straight to the point.
don't be getting put through no ladders.
No, but it's like you're so straight to the point, and it's like so straightforward and honest. It's like if you've ever watched Kevin Owens like real serious interviews, that's what it's the same thing. It's like it's not like
It's real, man. It's real.
It's real. It's
Genuine.
just yeah. So that's what's up, man. You know what I mean?
I was waiting for the big show. That's it. Everyone's always like, "Oh, you know who you look like? You know who you look like?" Yeah, I know who I look like.
It looked like you had a couple names in mind when you said
Yeah.
that. You were already grinning. You were like, "I know where
I
this
was
is going."
waiting. Yeah.
Hey, the Big Show is one of them. You do look like Paul White.
I'm gonna keep dipping in and out of like majors and indies. I wanted to ask you about seminars. Seeming you mentioned that you ain't really like no super big money promotion right now. Have you ever considered like having talent of any sort in the industry come through and teach seminars, and they could take the payment directly and it wouldn't come out of your own pocket, but you could like facilitate the venue?
Yeah, of course. You know, that's something that I'm definitely a proponent of. I feel like in our circle, there's definitely a lot of that's going on. Like I know that you know I've wrestled Gangrel a ton of times, right? And I saw that he did a seminar in like the Stockton, California area. So and there had to be 25 guys there. So I definitely am a big fan of that, but I also feel like you know I talked about how the frustration of running a wrestling school. You know, like I said, I've got one guy that comes every session, and then it's kind of a sprinkling of the other 15 people that started in January. So I just don't know what the buy-in would be, right? I wouldn't
Right.
want someone to come and you go, hey, I'm going to let you run a seminar, and that's how you're going to get paid, and then it just not work out. You know, we had JTG here. I want to say November, and it was the saddest thing, man, because it was like it. People were just, and I don't know if it was somebody said, "Oh, no one's going to know who that is," and I was like, "Oh, well." You know, you think about as a wrestling fan, you know who it is, but you know,
Right.
the point was a lot of these people who are just, kind of on the fence, watch wrestling sometimes. Those type of people are not going to know who this guy is, and for me, it was sad because he was just sitting at his gimmick table, and just not a whole lot of people were coming over and getting autographs and things like that. So,
Mhm.
and I feel like that's kind of how it's been in Reno. Like every time we bring in somebody, it doesn't always help our draw, right? So,
Right.
and that's what I was talking about when people solicit me for a booking, right? That's always been my mindset, man. I want to know, like, how are you going to affect my draw? You know, are you gonna help me draw more fans, or am I going to draw the same people I always do? And but I'm going to be paying you more money because of
Right.
your name or whatever. So,
Right.
uh, yeah, definitely. I'm not opposed to the running seminars, and we do that before every show here. You know, we set up early and get into the ring for a few hours to get training. And there's always somebody from another promotion. I feel like always kind of steps in and go, hey, you mind if I show them some stuff today? You know, whether it's somebody who's big on tag wrestling, or me, I'm 7 feet and 350 pounds, talking about how to work as a big guy, or somebody who's more athletic, or a smaller guy that's going to say, hey, here's how you're going to fight from underneath, build sympathy, you know, well, um, I feel like we have a good circle of people that are always kind of willing to give back, and maybe to a detriment a little bit. You know, I feel like we give out so much free information that I don't think a lot of people understand the value of the information that they're getting, and take it for granted a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen. You said one of your former students was Eddie Thorpe.
Mhm.
I was just reading that he was in a. He's okay, thank God, but he was just in a car wreck in Florida
That's terrible, man. It's just
2 days ago.
um, it's very humbling for me, to I remember when he got signed, and reached out and was just like, hey, I just want to thank you for everything that you've done. And, and for me, I'm like, I don't feel like I did anything for you, man. I just, kind of showed you the ropes a little bit. You were already on the right path. You were
Right.
gonna make it regardless if you cross paths with me or not. So that's always a humbling experience. But yeah, so it's great to hear that everything is good, man, because that guy works his ass off, man, and you just pray that good things happen for him
Right.
because of how much work he puts into it. He's one of those guys, man, that was showing up for training every opportunity he got, and
Had a real passion for it.
yeah, had the passion, and it's like, this guy's driven. This guy's gonna make it. You don't have to worry about calling him up and saying, "Hey, are you gonna be here today?" or
Right. He's
anything
already
like that.
there.
You could just expect he'll be there.
Yeah, that's dope. That really is. That really is. Well,
So I'm
I'm gonna
looking
just
through
say
my
this,
notes.
y'all.
What's up?
I'm gonna just say this, y'all. For Eddie Thorpe to come out of Reno like that at a place, I'm gonna just be honest with you. If you've ever been to Reno, you know how small it is, and it takes a lot for local like promotions and stuff like that to get the support that it deserves. And for Eddie Thorpe to get that push, that just goes to show how much you guys have going on for your school out there, Steve. That's a lot saying for
You
your
never know, man. That's like the promotion here that Diego just wrestled under last week. That's like Limitless Wrestling. They already have Lad Bible posting videos of that guy with the pogo stick gimmick. I know you remember him, Diego. The pogo stick guy. Bro, he is so over right now just for being a pogo stick guy, bro. Yeah, he's so over with it, bro. And I'm telling you, I guarantee he's probably one of those people you're gonna see blow up soon, just like Swipe Right, because he's already viral. He's the reason Limitless Wrestling's viral.
What about you, Steve? Who do you think that, in not by names, do you have somebody in your training or in your camp, in your vicinity, in your eye range, or that you think can probably make it to, the WWE ID or something like that?
I think there's definitely a lot of guys that have a lot of potential. There's one guy that really stands out right now. His name is Illumide. He is like a super dark skinned African, probably 6'4", just chiseled, athletic. This is one of those guys that will ask you to watch his match, and then you'll give him some critiques, and he'll fix it for the next match. So I think this guy passes the eye test, right? Passes the eye test first of all, and I think that's the biggest thing is that you want to look like a pro wrestler.
Right.
So for me, that's the first thing, right? Pass the eye test, and then you think about the rest of the stuff, right? The charisma that he's got, the just how much he wants to learn, he wants to get better. So I feel like he's for right now the scene right now that I've seen recently. I think that's probably the guy that pops into my head immediately, and I think he's been around for just a few years, so definitely young kid. Feel like track athlete, so just jumps out of the gym, super athletic, just looks like picks people up with ease. So yeah, I think that's the guy that pops into my head right off the top.
And you said his name is Illuminate?
Illumide, yeah. So I'll send you some stuff, and you can
send me that so we
give
can
him a
look
holler.
at him and put
Yeah, I
him
was
on
gonna
the,
say, we could react to it right here on the podcast. Same thing with some of your stuff, Diego. Anytime you want to throw on some highlights, bro, just throw them up there. Let the people see.
Oh yeah.
Facts. So we're running at 1 hour. I know Paul is a busy man. He's 3 hours behind us in Reno. So, Katana, what other questions you have? So, before we let him go.
How long we running this podcast?
Oh, we're running this for an hour.
For an hour? Oh,
Yeah, we got.
already over the time. My bad.
No, we can run. We running. We going.
Oh,
Go
okay,
ahead.
okay.
Yeah, we going.
So I know you mentioned you were more of a traditionalist when it comes to wrestling versus storytelling. I feel like there's this very thin line between too many spots and too many words. I feel like certain people aren't great on the mic, but they make up for it with their athleticism and the storytelling they do with their moves. And I feel like there's a lot of people that make up for their lack of physicality with their gimmicks and their storytelling. I kind of feel like certain people it appears to me even in the indie scene that gimmicks get over more than athleticism in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you think about just as recently as Orange Cassidy, right? That came in
Pockets,
as
bro.
just an absolute gimmick, right? And you know, the guys that know who he is know that he can work as well. But
Hmm.
to be able to get over with the simplicity of building to putting your hands into your pockets, and that's going to get a huge reaction. You think about that. You think about Santino Marella, right?
Yeah,
The dude can work his ass off, but you know, played that character, right? And I don't think a lot of people understand that getting to the point where you get over with your character, so you have to take so many less bumps.
yeah,
You're able to to use your body for so much longer if you're in a spot where you don't have to take a whole lot of punishment.
right.
So yeah, man, I can't agree more about the some people with their gimmicks, being able to get over like that, man. It's just it's incredible because you just you take that beating away from your body, and you can make your career last so much longer. I've heard people say like, I want to be the honky tonk man, right? And it's not that I want to be that character specifically, but it's that I want to have a
Longevity.
character, yeah,
Yeah,
that people can kind of like relate to. Like, okay, well, I remember, and I've definitely seen him like later in life on the indies, and the shake, rattle, and roll. He basically didn't take a bump off of it, just swung the guy through and let him go, and the guy took a bump for himself. So. Um, being able to have a gimmick that you can use, and it's
Sorry about it,
just
y'all. Sorry about it.
it's all
yeah,
good, man. So, and then what is like Danhausen as well, right? Which
yeah.
is just like
I'm a
that
fan. I,
amazes me as well.
I like it though.
Right.
And honestly, like you look at Jey Uso, super capable dude, super talented dude, but then when he was tipsy with Cody Rhodes and did that conference and got on the mic, that's what put him over. It was that real raw, uncut comedy that they were sharing between each other. And ever since, the Yeet movement's been a thing, and it's kind of like they're trying to shape it to like be the new Yes movement, kind of. But I feel like just as well, it's kind of getting to his head because that first botch was real. That first botch was real. The
And now he's just playing on it.
second one might not have been real, but the first one was definitely real.
So I look at it like this: Jey Uso is most definitely losing at WrestleMania. I mean, he made it to the main event. That's what his name is, main event Jey Uso. It never said I'm gonna win at the main event at WrestleMania, Jey Uso. It just said main event Jey Uso.
That would be a shitty promo, bro. They said I couldn't do it, Oos. They were right, Oos. They were right all along, Oos.
They said it. They said it, and they meant it, Oos. It's all right. Gunther
Nah,
slapped my chest to my back, and I lost.
I think they'll
Yeet.
give him. I think they'll give him the strap. Honestly, I think that's
What
the
you think,
direction.
Paul? You think Uso gonna win against Gunther?
Oh man, I don't know, man. It's just you got to think about the. I don't know. Like obviously, like I said, I like Gunther, and it's just like the realism, but it's like I mean, we're talking about gimmicks, man, and it's like what is what? How long ago was it where he had the like let's replay the whole music again and then get him up again, right, for the whole yeet thing. So
Yeah,
um, it's just nuts to know that you can come out and do nothing except for that, and the
Be
crowd is
over.
behind it.
yeah,
Where they're gonna stay up for another round of you just going through that
yeah.
again. So
He's over.
they're definitely not stupid when it comes to that, right? They want something that the fans can get behind. And I think realistically, you could go either way. So
I seen that a whole bunch of people were just fired from TNA, I believe.
Gail Kim
Thir-
was one of them, right?
Like
And
Gail Kim
13
being
people was
the major
just
one.
released from WWE too. And Cedric Alexander was one of them too. I'm like, man, that's a huge talent you just let go of. Like, if you really
Yeah.
let Cedric Alexander go loose in the ring, like y'all, yeah,
Paige departed from AEW. There's fans wanting her to go to WWE, but
not with the concussions.
she said she's trying to like step away from wrestling for a little bit. She just started her own podcast.
That's cool. I want to see what it's all about. I'm gonna go look at that.
I believe it's like Rule Breakers or something like that.
Okay.
And
You've been watching Stephanie McMahon's?
I haven't tuned into it yet. There's also talk of there's talk of the the Bella twins coming back.
Okay. Well, look, we got one last thing before we let you head out, Steve. Go ahead and let everybody know how they can reach you once again. Let them know your school, how everything's going, and just let them know in full detail how they can reach you and what's the next upcoming events.
sounds good, man. So yeah, the wrestling school and the promotion, both called Reno Wrestle Factory. You can find that on Facebook. We have our Going Over podcast, very much like this, man, talking wrestling. Just me and my co-host Zach Primetime Reeb. I feel like you can find that on YouTube and Instagram. Going Over Pod. We just talk about wrestling issues, man. Like a lot of the stuff that I was kind of mentioning today about how to book a show, how to get into the business, just things that we do that we like, we don't like. Trying to, again, kind of like I said before, my whole goal is to try to help people, get better at the wrestling business, right? And this is just kind of our way to give back. So Going Over podcast. Our next show is April 26th. And that will be somewhat of a kind of a Reno based type of show, casino based. So there will be a Royal Rumble style battle royal in that, along with a couple more matches. So we got that going on. We go to Winnemucca every year to the Runnemucca biker rally. That's on Memorial Day weekend, so we'll be out there those 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. That
If
weekend.
nobody knows where Winnemucca is in northern Nevada.
That's it, man. I was gonna step in when you were talking about Eddie Thorpe and tell you that he's from Lovelock.
Yeah.
Not from Reno, but from Lovelock.
From Lovelock.
If Reno isn't a small enough town, man, Lovelock even smaller. So,
man,
so that's it, man. Well, hey
what,
guys,
like
I definitely appreciate you guys having me on, man. I hope I
Appreciate having you.
hopefully helped out. Hopefully
yes, sir.
gave some info. Definitely learned some stuff. Diego, man, hit me up, man, if you're looking to get out here. I don't even know where you're from, but
North Carolina.
Oh, okay, sounds good, man. Yeah, we used to wrestle in Portland, Oregon, with I feel like a couple guys from North Carolina. Caleb something used to come
Caleb
out.
Conley?
Yep, that's it. So I used to see that guy all the time. So, but yeah, man, hit me up if you're ever on the West Coast. I'll try to get you hooked up with however many promotions I can around here. I feel like that there's a handful of promotions every single weekend running. So no lack of shows to get onto on any given weekend.
Nice.
All right, Steve. I appreciate you stopping by. Everybody, man, we appreciate Steve stopping by. I know you got a lot of things to do, so we're going to go ahead and let you get off of here, and you take care. And thank you for stopping by the podcast today.
Hey, feel free
Awesome.
to come by again sometime.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, take care.
Subscribe our channel. And
Say that again.
I said, don't forget to subscribe Big Paul's channel. Subscribe to Wrestling Unleashed channel. As always, this is Diego with Quintana, Caleb, and Outman, and we are Wrestling Unleashed podcast.
Woo, we out, y'all. Peace.
Hell yeah, y'all. That's how we do it.
Yeah, that was good.
I feel like from now on we lead like.
So do we want to?
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.